Thanks so much for having us.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is dope.
Godwin, thanks so much for having us at Yum Village. Congratulations on being one of the top 10 restaurants from the Detroit Free Press.
Thank
you
you
got to
so
be pretty
much.
excited about the space.
I was. It's crazy because I just started getting called chef like 4 years ago. So it's like, well, it's good.
So explain to people Yum Village if they haven't been in here before, and kind of what you're trying to bring with culture and food and mixing that all up
absolutely.
together.
So Afro-Caribbean eats, African-raised, Detroit-made. It's pretty much Yum Village in a nutshell. When I was growing up, you have to be a man. You have to cook food. It's not just the women who cook, and so a lot of those cultural influences, including like the ayo that we put on the side of the building, and the cooking classes that we have here, are all the reason why we're doing Yum Village on Woodward in Detroit, pushing food. My father, he worked as an engineer at the state building here. We would get our food from an import store that was right on West Grand Boulevard. We'd go home and make a lot of the stuff that we're making right here today. And so in a city that's primarily of African descent, I even think it is part of African history to serve jollof rice to people who most likely have some of that in their heritage.
Have you traveled a lot, and how has that kind of really brought all the flavors and cultures together?
So fortunately, I have had the opportunity to do some traveling, and being in the restaurant industry, you have to either, you eat what you kill, so you gotta get out there and learn. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to take a lot of the experiences that I've learned from being in the restaurant industry and apply them to traditional African Caribbean recipes and cooking methods.
But a lot of people, though, they say having a restaurant in the city of Detroit, you started from a food truck.
Yeah, we started a pop-up first.
So what was that evolution like in finally building that?
When we first started off doing pop-ups, we were originally a tech company. And as a tech company, we were applying for BizDom, and my original concept for Yum Village is pretty much what Kitchen Connect and all of these kitchen share programs that are coming out with now are. And it was to offer space rental for up-and-coming chefs who need to overcome barriers of entry of having their own brick and mortar.
Yeah.
That's why Yum Village still does an incubator here now. We incubate a new restaurant or an up-and-coming restaurant or food concept every 3 to 6 months in here, help them go over their finances, help them with their marketing, and that's something we've done from the very beginning as a pop-up through food truck to brick and mortar now. But I can tell you one thing, when I was just doing a pop-up, it was just me and some recipes in the kitchen, and now it's like a whole team in this building.
What was the first recipe then? What were the core recipes that you're like, this is what I've got to have on the menu when I start?
So jerk chicken, jollof rice, and one of the items that isn't on the menu now is our hot pepper beef short rib, which we slow cook and braise in a pineapple juice pickle. We are gonna wait until we get our liquor license in full effect and all that before we bring it back. It'll be a big thing.
You talk about being a business incubator and helping other people. How important is it about getting more Black-owned businesses and Black-owned restaurants in the city of Detroit and being able to get them through the barrier of funding and of business practices and really now being a model for other people?
The truth of the matter is, when I was going through Yum Village as a tech company, and this is something I'll never forget, as a tech company going through Yum Village, the focus was you need at least 3 to 5 years of runtime, and you got to have this amount of working capital. There were so many different nuances to getting a tech company started versus getting a restaurant started. When you get a restaurant start, you go from having a 3-year fundable runtime to 3 months, maybe.
Yeah.
That's it. Make it work. And restaurants, they last. 1 in 5 makes it 18 months. Half of that number sees 5 years, and these are the realities of the industry. And so you see restaurants that make it 5 years that are closing down, and it's well, that's kind of what's supposed to happen. It's usually the life cycle and all of that. It's part of it. The reality is these systematic things that come to people of color are going to be there, and we've got to be able to put steps in place and programs in place that are going to make people aware and give them an opportunity to acknowledge that these things exist, but also not be it like a hindrance or an excuse. Everyone has the same problems. We're all born unequal, but we're also born with the opportunity to remain unequal. If you don't have a car, you can not get one, or you can do what you need to do to get one, and whatever that story is in between, you got a car, go on. That's kind of it. I challenge people to take some responsibility for their hardships. And at the same time, I am appreciative to programs like Motor City Match and the DGC and Midtown Inc. and Build and everyone, City of Detroit, that's been very helpful in like giving me, a person of color who went to Wayne State initially on a football scholarship, and my first job was in the Wayne State cafeteria.
All right.
To now be within walking distance of that college and able to serve right on Woodward. And a Q line stop, no less. So it's a dream come true.
There you go. So when you turn and you see people having lunch here and enjoying every bit of the vision that you've helped create, what do you think?
You know, I just want to make sure that we're able to keep the positive momentum and also just remember the cultural aspects of it, because it's more important to me that people know that they're eating jollof rice and it came from this place, or it's more important that people are having conversations about akara and how akara has traveled from Africa through Brazil, through South America, and what caused that. You know, those types of dialogue conversations are way more important to me than just the food. You know, food's a big part of it, you know, but I wanted to connect over something.
And speaking about getting more of that education and understanding about food, you're going to be starting to do some breakfast, maybe?
Yeah,
and how does
so,
that expand your story?
So the breakfast is going to be a little secret. So when we extend our hours for the liquor license, we're going to also extend both ways. And so we're going to start exposing people to Afro-Caribbean influenced breakfast themes and some of the stuff that I ate for breakfast as a kid growing up. But in addition to that, we do a ton of events here. We do Detroit City Distillery pop-up events. We are at different hospitals and businesses. We also do 2 cooking classes a month, one at our neighbor, the Kitchen with Q, right across the street from us.
We love her.
She's
We did our show
amazing.
there. She's
Yeah.
so much fun.
She's
great.
dope.
Q
She's
is
super
great.
dope. And then the other one is at Frame in Hazel Park. The whole purpose is to just keep spreading the culture of the Afro-Caribbean descents around food and art.